Right, hello again, guys. Today we have British Guy. You'll probably know from Dorkslayer. If you want to introduce yourself.
Hi there, guys. I'm British Guy. You may have heard me. Good, bad, and the ugly, maybe. British Guy, Dorkslayer. Been here since the beginning. Still here, unlike many other people. I'm excited to be here to chat to you, Pacey, and going through some of the
Thank you.
E2 info and what's going on.
A pleasure to have you here, mate. Right, I'm just going to get straight into the questions. We've got my questions to come first, and then we'll go through the community ones. So first of all, who is British Guy, and what was your idea behind the character?
Who is British Guy?
Yeah.
British Guy actually started around, I started playing the VR, right?
Yeah.
Got one of the Oculus Quests, and I used to live over in America a lot. So I'd play VR in America all the time. Some of the Population 1, when that came out, that's of course, Oculus Quest 2. Anyway, this avatar needed a name, and everyone would love my accent over there. And so they started to call me, oh, you're British accent. So I just ended up calling myself the British Guy as an avatar. And that led in, and maybe I'm not as original as I could be. So I just had to stick with the name that they gave me.
Oh, that makes sense. If it's stuck, and it completely makes sense, because you are the most British posh guy I've even spoke to, and I'm English myself, so why not? Right, next one. This is a Dorkslayer one. What exactly is the premise behind Dorkslayer, and what is your vision for the guild?
So Dorkslayer, for the people that don't know, is Ernest Cline's Ready Player, from the Ernest Cline's book, Ready Player 2, actually, which is the sequel to Ready Player 1. Some people know that, some people don't get it. And it's a reference to the sword, which is the most powerful thing within that can kill the evil AI, Og, I believe is his name. And so at the time of starting playing Earth 2, I was reading that audiobook while working. And that's where the name came around. We needed a name to call ourselves as a collective. So what sort of mad name can you have for a collective other than Dorkslayer? It's so out there and ridiculous, but yet so poignant for people when they do some digging. It just made perfect sense to call us as a group Dorkslayer. And the point of it is, it's just, if we're playing a game, it has to be a guild. Every game, every multiplayer game has to have a group, has to have a community. People weren't doing that when they first logged in. They were just buying here, there, and everywhere and doing their own thing. So my idea around that was to create, the first group of people to go out there and start conquering, if you like.
Yeah, that makes sense. So what's your vision for Dorkslayer going forward? Is it just going to be an Earth 2 thing, or?
No. So Dorkslayer in itself already isn't just Earth 2. I mean, people have already gone out there and playing in other games and doing other things underneath that Dorkslayer banner. And while it was very important, I didn't, I was very conscious. Dorkslayer, it's a trademark name, right? We trademarked it.
Yeah,
It's a full-on trademark thing. But yeah, I didn't want to just be owned by one person, right? It's supposed to be that community, but there were a few people in the mix that tried to take that and run with it and take ownership and almost make their own fork, let's say. Okay. We're a little bit too dark, so we tried to keep that from happening. So people have taken it and gone off and created other. I mean, they're all playing in that Diablo game that just came out. There's like 300-400 people running around in that guild with the Dorkslayer on their name. We've got land in Shib.io, which is another metaverse. That's going to be the Dorkslayer banner. Okay. There's still these different things. I mean, people can go out and play and use it and reference and come back into it all. So it's good fun.
Just like a common interest group kind of thing. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Third question, how did you first discover Earth 2? What's your story?
Earth 2, well, it's going back now, isn't it? With Earth 2, when I first discovered Earth 2, it was deep during COVID. So I was, it's winter, it was in the COVID, and of course what you do in winter you're online constantly. It's like, what else is there to do? And I saw the advert of, I think like many people, on the Facebook, I think it was a Facebook advert that I first saw it on. Okay. Clicked through, and instantly this whole grid, seeing the Earth as a grid, all buying squares, mentally I knew I'd seen it before. In the crypto space, mainly. I'd seen it before. I couldn't think for the life of me of where it was. And I think it must have been a throwback to seeing Decentraland in an article somewhere previously. And so of course, with Decentraland, you have to be into crypto space, which at that time I wasn't. Whereas Earth 2 had the fiat on-ramp, so you could just put your credit card in, at that time PayPal, and just spend your money, spend and go. So board, click, pay, now you're a Earth 2 owner. And that was what, the 11th of December 2021.
Super early.
That was early on. And then from there, I think it was just a bit of a laugh, really. So I sent out to a couple of people that I know to come over, get involved. Not from the money side of it all. Of course, it was good fun. I being a gamer growing up, Civilization, those sort of land conquering games, it all rang true, and I thought I have to get involved. And this is that's the mentality that I thought this was all going to go down into, which I believe it really is still.
Definitely, now that we're seeing kind of the eco sim and stuff, it does very much seem like that sort of thing. And I think you're completely right about the fiat as well. I think that was a massive appeal for a lot of people. I think that's why Earth 2 kind of outgrew a lot of the other metaverses in terms of the number of users that we've got, because it was certainly why I joined Earth 2 as well, the fact that I could just use me debit card. Right, next question is, do you want to walk us through your portfolio? How many tiles are you sitting on? Just your
portfolio. Well, what do I own in Earth 2? Like, obviously Gibraltar, why that's not as as a small collective. We've got that. Other than that, I've got a couple of other things that I was proud of. The finish line at Ascot, for example, being British guy, you have to own the finish line at Ascot, don't you?
We do.
But other than that, what's of note? Oh, there's a big conference center in Germany, the largest conference center in the world. We as a group own the majority of that, which is pretty cool. But then it's just a lot of the resources, right? We gave away those, as you probably remember, the blue dot scandal, which I'm sure I still guess. So very early on, we shared that out with everyone. The code, what can we do with all this, and started buying up a lot of those blue dots. So really it's Gibraltar, it's a couple of big major conference centers, and then resources. Blue dots is what I go for.
That makes sense. You've obviously done the right things, and if you got the blue dot, have you had most of the ones that you did pick automatically validated by Earth 2, or the plots that you've got to do yourself?
Well, when you click through onto the validation things, how many requests from Dorkslayer are you seeing come up? Very few.
There's hardly any on there at all, to be honest.
Well, that's because most of them have come up. Most of them have been what we thought they would be. So
most of them are getting snapped up in a couple of seconds anyway, because loads of people seeing that there's bots automatically claiming them if there's links in there and stuff anyway. The only ones that don't is when people have just put like a daft smiley face on or stuck memes and stuff in it. But there was literally, I just checked before this interview, and there was only 4 claims that hadn't been done. And they were all like, I think it was 4 coal mines, all with no information. And that was the only things that are sitting there waiting to be validated.
Now, I'm fascinated also on that, because we've all got our gold, we've all got our oil. And then you've got this coal and iron. Coal is such a rare asset at the moment. There's so much gold everywhere, so much oil. It's almost, we need more of the coal and the iron.
I think it's probably a case of the fact that people went for the gold and stuff more than they did the coal. I don't think there's less coal in the world. I just think there's less people actively gone for those locations.
Well, in the world of Earth 2, there's a hell of a lot less.
I don't think there is. I think just less people have bought them.
We need to get them in. I guess that's the thing.
Because I bought on a coal mine myself. I flexed a coal mine, and it was valid. It came straight away with the resource of coal as soon as Earth 2 did. So all the real world locations that have historically got it will in Earth 2 as well. I think people are just going for the ones that are more valuable in Earth 1 before the likes of coal.
I guess so. But I mean, if we're going to flood the market now, we'll see what happens.
I guess we'll soon find out as soon as we've got some utility for the resources.
Yeah.
Right. If you had to give just one bit of advice to new Earth 2 players, what would that be?
New piece of advice, new Earth 2. In all honesty, do it for the fun. Don't do it for the money, because you're just, you get emotionally tied up. Things don't always go the way you want it to. things go up, things go down. But you know, if you can find a group of people that you want to have some fun with in here, then have some fun. Don't treat it as a get rich scheme. You know, I think that's the quickest way to spoil not only your enjoyment of it, but also the community when things go wrong for you.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. That's well said, to be honest. Yeah. Right, question 7. I know you already are in this one, but I'll ask anyway. Are you involved in any other Web3 projects? And if so, can you walk us through those?
Like how many? I've probably been in and out of maybe 200 different projects now.
Yeah, that's great.
So I mean, we've done we've done a lot. Back in the day when our planet was coming through, Alien Worlds.
Yeah.
You know, we had prospectors, we had green rabbits. There's been a million one. We had a Crypto Blades, and then what was the other one after Crypto Blades? Crypto Blades was fun for a bit, but then there was an even better one. We had Zoo. Did you ever see Zoo?
I think I saw it in your Discord, but I never went on it myself.
Zoo, Dragonary. I mean, Alethea, of course. Can't forget Alethea. We still hold quite a lot of that one. But there's crypto mines, was it? That one was great. I mean, back when that first launched, people were making trades for like 500,000 in there.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
I wasn't aware of that, to be honest. That's crazy.
Yeah.
You guys bought a racehorse at some point as well, didn't you?
Oh yeah, we've got the racehorses. We have to have racehorses for Ascot, right?
Exactly.
So we actually won that one in the Genesis drop. We won that one because many of these metaverses, similar to like when Earth-2 first launched, they struggle with their servers, right? They can't manage the amount of people that want stuff as to their capabilities. So what they were trying to do was trying to sell all the racehorses, but it just didn't work because they had too many people logging in and the servers weren't able to do it.
Yeah.
But as you know, in the NFT and all of this market, the money actually comes from those secondary sales. So they took the 5,000 racehorses, gave them out to the community, and then because it was easier to get it out there and minted, if you like, and then made the money from the secondary sales and the breeding, which was hilarious. You know, what other industries can do that?
Yeah, to be fair, it's big at the minute. Do you reckon this is kind of the future for the Web3 industry, or do you think it's just kind of how it's finding its feet?
I'd say it's how it's finding its feet. There was definitely a moon period with all of this.
Yeah.
There was that hype, people FOMO, bull market and everything. Do I think we'll get back to, I don't think we'll see those outrageous sort of returns anytime soon again.
Yeah,
in the same way. Yeah. But I mean, of course, there's fun games to play and there's fun things to do. So of course, get involved still. There's still projects, but yeah, I think that sort of moon period is probably over at the moment for this. While everyone's out there building. Yeah,
we're not going to kind of everything people touch isn't going to be gold anymore, at least not for a long while anyway. Right. Question 8. In your opinion, what is the most undervalued or overlooked thing inside of Earth-2? Undervalued or overlooked?
Undervalued.
Thing. Yes.
Most undervalued. I think community. I think community is the most undervalued thing, and people haven't teamed up in the way that they probably should. Right? You need groups of people working together to add value to these mega. People say mega cities and things, but I've done this to. I was doing this with back in the day of SHP and Alpha Kingdom and all this. I said, bring the community together, show that the community's together. Right? Just simple task. Get everyone to fly the same flag, for example. Become a community. Show that you're a community, and you can get people working together on something as basic as that. And I feel like people need to pull together still. When you're sitting there, at the moment we can globally, for example, claim our essence, right? We can click on our profile and we can claim it all globally. Yeah. I believe at some point soon we're going to be able to do it on a property by property basis. and get different percentages, for example. You'll start farming it in that sense and get different things. You want a community of people working with you in an area together to get the maximum benefit for your cities that you're building.
Yeah, that's where the smart contracts and stuff are going to come into place, isn't it? Yeah, I'm really curious as to what options we're going to get from those. I want the white paper from Shane so I can see exactly what our options are with those. But I think that'll a lot of it will come from, how a lot of the gamers on Axie Infinity are from the Philippines and stuff like that. I think it's going to be more collabs in that sort of sense for the contracts of your land rather than guild members. Because I know a lot of the people that I socialize with in Earth 2 have got the same sort of size portfolio as me, so I can't imagine many of them wanting to manage my properties for us and stuff.
No, it won't. No, exactly. It won't be management of property like Axie Infinity's. Well, mind you say that. I mean, there are some smaller accounts. I've got to ask you, Pete, where do you spend most of your time, in the Discord or on the Facebook of the social side of it all?
I'd say I'm probably equal between Facebook, Twitter, and Discord. It's probably equal amounts between the three of those.
Interesting.
I'd say I learn the most from Twitter, though.
Mm-hmm. Would you agree that each of those communities are totally different?
Oh, without a doubt, yeah.
Isn't it correct? Yeah, I find it fascinating.
You definitely got the kind of more hardcore people on Twitter and Discord. It's kind of the more casual players on Facebook and stuff, and it seems to get a lot more heated on Discord as well. But yeah, I don't know what the reasons are behind that. But yeah, do you agree with that? Do you see?
No, yeah, totally. No, I totally agree. There's a lot of I like some of the Facebook and think because it cuts through a lot of that noise.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't have time for the conversation. You just want to get to the information. And so, there's a mixture of all of them makes the right recipe depending on people's time, I guess.
Yeah, that's probably why I spend a lot of time on each one. Then I guess I get a bit of everything, best of all the worlds.
Yeah.
Right. So this is the last question from me before we move on to the community questions. Question 9: what is your end goal and your overall aim for your Earth 2 portfolio?
For my Earth 2 portfolio, it's not really me. My aim for Earth 2 is to build that Gibraltar base, right? Yeah. It's been the dream since starting to create an elite place, right? I mean, not everyone can be there. It's one of the least amount of land areas in the world for that tier 1 and everything. Now, of course, we've got all these other islands opening up and small countries. That throws something else into the mix, and people can do stuff over there. But as an area, it's one of the most recognized places in Earth 2. People know about it. To build something there to showcase what's capable, not only within Earth 2, but within many of these other projects, and to pull that in to Earth 2 is sort of where I'd get some kicks from doing this, I guess.
Yeah, that makes sense. Gibraltar kind of has been your baby since the start, hasn't it? So seeing that progress and grow and stuff, I can see why you would get your satisfaction from that. Yep. Right, now we're going to move on to the community questions. The first one is from Viking. He's asking, how many dorks are you planning to slay in the metaverse?
How many dorks are planning to stay? Well, we like to think of ourselves as a peaceful bunch. But for anyone that stands in our way, they do make a lovely squishy noise under your feet.
So basically, as many as get in the way. Right. Next up, we have one from Trav. When you first heard about Earth 2 and looked into it, what was your initial vision and hope for the platform?
My initial hope for the platform. The second I saw it, and I back this up. Through conversation. I mean, back in the day when I first logged into this, I was pinging Shane because, of course, the user base was way much lower and it was easier to access Shane. So you'd PM, and I said very early on to him, I was like, "Is this the Civilization? Is this the Sim City? Is this your?" And essentially, it was just a if his words were, "If you like that, you're gonna like what we're trying to build here," along those sort of lines, and so. that's what I thought it was always going to be, and that's where I see them making that progress, and that's what I love to play. I mean, on the VR headset, I've got that Cities VR, so you remember the old Sim City. You can do it in the VR now, and you can build your parks and put your bus routes in and all this sort of music. So still like playing those mad games, but yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's a good answer. Right, next up, we're on to This is a few questions from E2 Ireland. I'm guessing these guys aren't your biggest fan in the world. Yeah, so these ones are a bit, like I even asked you if you wanted these removed because they are a bit touchy. But his first question is, how much have you made selling copyright infringing merch?
How much have I made selling copyright infringing merch? The answer to that is 0. I've not sold any merch. So that's an easy one to answer. How much did I showcase that you could be doing this? You know, did I show people that, look, you could be doing something with this? Sure, we put some shops together. Was it e2shop.io or something?
That's one that exists.
Yeah. Well, back in the day, we were talking about that. I mean, we showed that out there, and apparently that was illegal merch because we didn't have the people's rights to do it. Well, that website's still there, and I'm not involved with it, but did I help promote it? Sure, of course I did. Yeah. So answer is none.
I think I must have missed the initial drama from that, to be honest, because there's obviously been something there, but I don't remember it from the early days of Earth 2. So I'm kind of glad that I missed it, to be honest. But his next question is, how much have you made from selling screenshots of tile art as NFTs?
How much did I make? I think I put 5 up for sale, these tile arts, and I think I charged £4.99 each.
Okay.
And I sold them all. Each one had to sell though for $50 for the gas fees.
Oh, Jesus.
So in grand total, what did I make? I think I made a whole whopping £25. I mean, that's enough for news articles. That's enough for a year later for them to still be going on about it. Now, let me ask him and the rest of the community this question. How much did the other people make after I showed them what an NFT was, right? Because I know I can check the blockchain. Was we the first people to put that out there? Probably, yeah, I think we are. And then people came out and on the Wax blockchain made stuff very similar, put it all out there. Yeah. They charged what? I think 5,000-6,000 they took of people's money. Let me ask you this, or them this. What are they worth now? Where's that utility? What did they do with that money to get those people that bought their things any use? Did I charge 25 quid to put it out there? Yeah, maybe, but I didn't charge 7-8 grand from people.
Yeah, there was a lot of kind of Earth 2 NFT projects popped up, and they do all seem to have gone a bit quiet now. Yeah, that's fair enough. I think I missed your initial drama from the NFTs as well. I don't recall you guys doing that. When was it? Because I didn't get in till March. Was that before my time?
It would have been very early. Yeah, very early on. Showcasing. Well, no one was talking about it. No one. We got to remember back in the beginning of Earth 2 also, no one wanted anything to do with crypto. Mm-hmm. Everyone's like, when are we getting Essence listed now? Yeah. That's a total 180 flip on what the community wanted when this first launched. Everyone was saying, we don't want it. If it goes to crypto, we're all leaving. And now they're screaming from the heavens, when Binance, when Polygon.
Now that we're all sitting on piles of Essence kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just hilarious.
Right. Next up is, besides E2 Kraken, which other guilds does DS have beef with? That's again from E2 Islands.
Who do we have beef with? It's a game, right? So who do we have beef? Well, probably no one. Would I create some drama? Sure. Let's create some drama if you want to have a bit of fun. But as it currently stands, I don't think we're technically at war in Earth 2 with anyone. Mainly because we defeated most of the opponents. Alpha Kingdom was no longer here. SHP no longer here. The Joker dropped off. All these people. And what was his name? E2, what was it? Moneybag. What was his name? Can't even remember his name.
Oh, the one with the Monopoly character thing.
Yeah. I mean, he disappeared. He built his city. He disappeared. Took the money. Ran up. Like they've all been and gone. Yeah, Gibraltar still stands.
Oh, that's fair. I can't argue with that point. He's got. Well, there's another 2 questions actually. When will you make more cringe videos that scare children?
Well, let's see if this turns into one. I don't know.
We'll let the kids watch this one and see what happens.
I don't go out my way to make cringe videos. Sometimes they just happen.
Right. His next one is
he's typing a lot. He's got lots of questions, isn't he?
Is DS really a DAO?
Is Dorkslayer really a DAO? As it currently stands, probably technically not.
Yeah.
Would I like it to be? Of course, yeah. But I don't think. At the moment, you can mentally treat it like a DAO with the insight that you want to treat, want to work within that environment. I don't think there's a way at the moment to actually really effectively put it on chain and say it is, right? I mean, if you think of what we've done with the NFT project that we do have on Polygon, I said reference to maybe that comes up in a minute. Wasn't there a question in there about that with the Dorkslayer NFTs? Potentially, we've got quite a few left. All right. But So anyway, the concept with the DAO was to then use those NFTs that we created as a group to buy other assets and then divide that ownership depending on the NFTs that you owned. Yeah. So I think
I do hold one of your DAO NFTs.
Oh, there you go. Myself. Yeah. So we raised, I think, 3,738 Matic during that sale. 277 out of 1066, British joke there, NFTs were produced. But you can't, at the moment, you still need someone to control it. You still need someone to manage the contract. You can't turn it off. And until you can turn it off, it's not technically, probably to the letter, a DAO.
Okay. No, that's fair. So what are your future plans for it? Is that where you eventually want to get to with it though?
Oh, I'd love to. Yeah, I'd love to, but I don't think, in all honesty, anyone's really doing it in the way that, I can't see someone out there and say, look, I'll just replicate that, because I don't think it exists. If it did, I'd just dial that in. And I mean, if anyone comes up with a good idea and ping me, I'll instantly put it into that. Of course. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And this is his last one. Have you ever been to the real Geobolga?
Oh yeah, of course. I went to Gibraltar, I think, when I was 17. Well, I did a motorbike trip when I was 17 with some family, and we went from Malaga across to Tangier. Okay. And so, of course, on route there, you have to go out to Gibraltar and see the monkeys. So yeah, been up the mountain, been up the rock and seen the monkeys.
Brilliant. Right, next we're on to Creepo Brook, and he is asking, what do you think about the Dorkslayer staff? Are they handling everything like you want?
Dorkslayer staff, yeah. I mean, everyone does great. I mean, oh my God, I couldn't do well. Dorkslayer wouldn't be what it is without everyone that's been there, all the admins and helping out. So big shout out to there's a loads of people that work behind the scenes to pull that together. So I'm not going to go out and just start naming just one or two, because I know I'll then forget a million other ones and it will just start another war. But yeah, I mean, like I say, Dorkslayer, it's not just me. It is very much a group of people. I don't know if you ever remember in the very early days when we went through that, let's call it the selection process.
I didn't find it till March, so I probably wouldn't have witnessed that anyway.
Oh no! So that was another big furore, because we had a few simple tasks that people had to do to be welcome into the group, if you like. The selection process of a guild. So we had two simple tasks. Because back in the day, this is when everyone was buying all over the map and no one had any uniformed way of doing anything. So this was communicated through the Facebook and the Discord. And I said, right, it was everyone had to go to a particular space within you can still type in. You type in Poland, and the dots that pop up there. This was the stage 1 task.
Yeah.
And I placed one single tile. It's 10 cents. It's not the money thing. It's just to follow simple instructions and do things as a group. And then everyone had to go and buy a tile next to them there. And then they got through into the next selection process. What was the next selection process? There was this like boot camp, we called it. And they had to do these 2 simple tasks. I think back then it was change your flag as well and put Dorkslayer in your name. And then if as long as they could do that, then they were into our social, into the channels to then know where we were going to go and buy this piece of land together. And because we didn't include, everyone was able to come in and do it. Like it was open to anyone that wanted to do those 2 simple tasks.
Okay.
But because they weren't involved in those social channels when we went out to do the launch. So we actually then shipped across. We were very busy. A lot of people were very busy over in Malta back then. So there's loads of Dorkslayer purchase tiles from like me and a couple of other people that were messing around there. And then there's a great image when we made our landing point in Gibraltar. If you go to the tip of Gibraltar, there's this big arrow. And back in the day, that was with the Malta flag, and then we made our landfall there, and just worked our way up from the bottom to the top of the Gibraltar as a group. We were only one that just followed those 2 simple tasks. But because some people weren't involved, then they all started throwing some shade, and some things got rambunctious in the socials.
Okay, yeah, I definitely seem to have missed the biggest drama points, to be honest. I don't remember that one either. I'm kind of glad, to be honest, though. But our next question is from Hippo48, and he is asking, in a metaverse one-on-one fight to the death, what is your weapon of choice? I think I can guess this one from one of your earlier answers.
I think it'd have to be the sword, wouldn't it? Yeah. It'd be the Dorkslayer sword. I mean, that's an easy one.
There we go.
The all-powerful Dorkslayer sword.
I think you'd probably get flack if you didn't see that, to be honest.
Yeah.
Tell us is asking if you've got any tips on how to cure a hangover. Is that an inside joke or something between you guys?
Yeah, maybe I might drink a little bit too much sometimes in the evenings and come on. So the trick is just never really sober up in the first place, I tend to find, but I can't say that because it's not PG, so we're not going to go with that one.
That's fair.
Just don't overdo it, don't overindulge, honest.
Why not? Next up, we have 2 from Dr. Vince Dime. He's saying, you're working in web-free space with Tech Circus and others. How do you see DS placed in that world and E2?
Okay, so no, that's interesting. I mean, it's great to, as people may know, yes, so I've been hosting a lot of conferences, working with a lot of these different projects, not just buying their projects, but actually, working with them, curating some panel discussions and everything along those sort of lines. Dorkslayer, I don't know if people, so you've got all the NFT PFP projects, for example. I'm sure people will be familiar with that term now. They weren't 6-8 months ago. But so essentially Dorkslayer now, as an NFT project, as a brand, I like to call it, it's a Web3 brand now. So how do I see it working? These other projects, the second you can do stuff, AR fashion house, for example, or if you're looking to set up anything that a normal brand would want to sell, you can do that through the Dorkslayer brand. I mean, Dorkslayer would be classed as a Web3 brand. Okay. You say, the Bored Ape Yacht Clubs have done it a lot better, but in essence, it's the same concept.
I like your pun there. Right. Are you finished with that one?
Yeah, that's it.
Right. A second question from the same user, and he is saying, being the founder of the first guild on Earth 2, what's a guild mean to you, and where do you see, in the second part of this question, where you see the true strength of such groups?
Well, it's coming back from that gaming community. Yeah. When Earth 2 started and we were all playing it, we were all logging in, the social channels existed, but people weren't working together. And what pulls a community together? A guild, call it a group, call it a guild, call it an alliance, whatever you want to call it. In the gaming world, in multiplayer gaming worlds, most people have an alliance, have a guild. So a community of people that want to play together, have fun, log in at the same time. Of course, there's an Australian contingency. They don't typically vibe with us because they're on the wrong side of the clock. So, it's just like-minded people that want to log in together and have some fun and chit chat of developments and updates and what's hot, what's not.
Just a common interest community again. Yeah, that's a great explanation of it. Next up, we are on to Crypto Meditations, and he is asking, well, he's saying, ask him about selling NFT scandal and if he still believes E2 needs a villain.
Well, we've covered the scandal. Do I think E2 needs a villain? I think it needs characters. Yeah, I think it needs more characters, groups, characters, and people to have some fun with. That content creation, right? I mean, back in the day when we were creating some of those mad videos, people watched them. I mean, they'd have, you know, a couple of thousand views and everything, just nonsense, but they weren't nonsense. They always had something hidden in them. I mean, Mr. Pink. I mean, people had to sit through 5 minutes of Mr. Pink just to find out about the blue dots, for example. It's like, well, I'm not going to give it to him easy.
That's fair enough. Right, this is the last question of all the community questions going after this one. And he wants to know what's next for the DAO and the NFT connected to it.
What's next for the DAO?
That's
like
from Costa.
All right. So at the moment, as you know, we've got that Shibland in other metaverses. I would love to be able to turn it into a fully fledged brand. Once other projects, you know, allow us to build and develop and use that brand as a community. Owning those NFTs would be owning a part of that brand. That's how it would work. You know, it needs to be built out at the moment. I get excited. I mean, I don't know if you've seen like Artifact lately with what they're doing. You know, they teamed up with Nike and everything, and what they're doing. So they're selling these hoodies, right? They sell these hoodies, but put on the AR glasses and out come their angel wings and your avatar angel wings. So this is what they're building now. That's just a black hoodie, Artifact, web-free brand. I mean, I see Dorkslayer doing cool stuff like that. Yeah. Once the technical aspects of it all work out, and me and hopefully a group of people will be able to do that. I'm a strong bull in this concept of wearables as well, like the AR glasses. You know, yes, they have 4 or 5 years down the pipeline, but you'll be able to walk by wearing these in the street, and you'll see that guy wearing the Artifact, hoodie, and you will see those wings of his avatar. So that's where I see that going, and I'd love to see Dorkslayer build and use those sort of tools and filters and cool stuff like that.
Oh, that does sound absolutely fantastic, to be honest. I would love to see that as well. Yeah. That's everything, though. That's all my questions, all the community questions. We have less than 1 minute before we get cut off in this. So is there anything you would like to quickly add?
No, I did a quick thank you for having me on here and having a laugh and going through it all, sort of thing.
My pleasure.
Yeah, it's been good. I hope that it's insightful to some of the new people. I mean, a lot of the old timers probably know a lot of all that, but hopefully it gets a little bit of information out there to some of the new people as well.
Thank you very much for joining us. And as always, to you guys watching, thank you very much and have an amazing day. Catch you later, mate. Thank you.
Ciao for now.